Cozy Gigs, here to do another video with you, and I think this one is going to be nice and short. This is a very simple card using Stampscapes, which I love, and I have already put all the layers on a card already, and it's ready to go. And now we're just going to take a look at how to do this part of the card. This card is made up of Inchies. If you were to squish all of these together, you'd have 3 inches by 4 inches. But when I start a card like this, I always give myself 1/4 of an inch of give on each end. That way, if something happens, hopefully I can trim it off and clean it up before I turn it into Inchie squares. I've inked up this stamp right here. We're only going to use about half of the stamp right here along the bottom. Just like to make sure my stamps are inked up very, very well. Good black, clean, crisp ink. Doesn't matter which one you use as long as it's dye-based. Actually, it doesn't even have to be that, but it would probably be easier to make a card using dye-based inks than another type. Okay, so I probably used more space than I normally would have, but let's see how it works out. I still have plenty of space to put the tree in there, and I could trim the bottom off if I wanted to. While we're letting this piece dry, we're going to work on this sun. Push this aside. And the easiest way to get one is to get your 1-inch punch out and punch into a Post-it note. And you're going to carefully keep the inside and the outside. We'll need both. I am not as smart as you, and I don't have a 1-inch punch. I have no idea how many times I've made this card, and I still haven't bought myself a 1-inch punch. That's nuts. So I am going to cut mine out of this. If you had a 1-inch punch, you wouldn't have to worry about making a continuous cut. But if you're like me and you don't have one and you have to cut your own, I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing. But you would carefully have to start it, go all the way around, and come here and end it right there so that you could make this look like a whole piece and you'd have this whole piece. So make it one continuous cut all the way around. I have my mask ready. And I just want to show you that I very carefully kept this into one cut. That would mean that this part here would have to be the Post-it part so that it stays down while you're working away at it. I'm going to put another Post-it note right here. And this will help me not get any color that I don't want over here. So in order to do my sun, I'm going to use butterscotch. There's lots of great yellows out there. Doesn't matter which one you use. I've got my Tim Holtz alcohol ink applicator that I use a lot. I'm covering up the Velcro really carefully on this side, and we'll just call it a Timmy for now on. Okay, and we're going to pat this off, and then I want to show you something. I don't know if you can tell, but sometimes when you put ink on and you rub it off, you get these blotches of ink. We want to ignore that, so I'm going to get the majority of my ink off on the side here. Then when I know I just have soft color left, I'm going to bring it over here and add my color. That way I can maintain a lot of control over the way it looks. So rub it off over here, get the blotchy parts off, and then go ahead and rub my sun color right in, getting into all the crevices. I don't want it too bright. I want it to be pretty soft. It's very white paper, so color will show up really well. I think that's good enough. Let's take this off. And I'm going to keep this mask because I feel like I did some pretty good cutting there and save myself having to do that again. And that looks pretty good. Now I've got to cover it up. My sun is carefully covered up. I'm using stone-washed Adirondack, a nice soft blue, or any other blue you have. I'm going to get some of my ink off so that I don't have blotches of blue all over my beautiful white palette here. So it might take a little bit more time to get your color on than if your Timmy was completely loaded up with color. But I think you'll like the soft look that you get with a little bit of patience. I'm holding down my little post-it circle with my finger for a couple of reasons, because I don't want to get my paper dirty with whatever's on my finger. I've been rumbling around my supplies here for a bit, so I don't want to get that dirty. And also because I don't want to catch it and accidentally swipe my blue into my beautiful yellow sun. I hope you can see the soft blue color we have there. That's all we really need. I'm going to use Adirondack Meadow, and I've made sure I've got the right color on my Timmy. Again, let's take the blotching off on here, and then I'm going to hold my card down with the little post-it note that I've left over the sun, just so that I don't handle the card too much. This is meant to be a very simple card. I think what makes it effective is how much there isn't on it. It's just very simple. This is what it looks like if you keep the path clear and don't have any color on the path. But I don't think I'm going to worry about it that much. I know that I'm going to be cutting some of this path off eventually. So I'm just going to color over the whole thing. Get some nice soft green on there. And that didn't take long at all. Okay, let's take off our protective cover. Okay, and that was simple and easy. Our next step is to take a piece of chipboard. Hopefully you have some chipboard. Sometimes you can get it from your local scrapbook store. They're always going to get a piece of this on the bottom of 12 by 12 stacks of paper that they order from companies to protect the paper in shipping. So if they're willing to let some of this go, you can ask them. You can see it's nice and strong. And if not, go get your Cheerio box and cut this the same size that your paper is. So right now that's 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And you're going to use a glue stick to adhere these two things together. Usually I end up using adhesive tapes to put everything together when I make a card, but if you're going to put this through a cutter, you don't want to have to gnaw your way through any tape. So the best solution then is to use a glue stick. Okay, so you'll notice I'm putting the glue stick onto the chipboard instead of my picture, and again, that's just to protect my picture, keep it as clean as possible, because the more I play around here, the more I'm going to get dirty fingers, and I just want to make sure that I do my best to keep it pristine. Okay, so I've kind of tapped it on, but I think what I'll do is I'll turn it over this way onto my clean scrapbook paper and do all the rubbing and molding on right there like that. So now it's on, it's very secure. And now I'm looking at this and I'm going, well, where's my tree? I didn't stamp my tree on there yet. So let's get my tree out. Here it is. So I'll ink this up really good. And then let's try and make sure that our trunk gets into our grass. We want some of the tree going right into our sun for sure. Let's see how we did. Okay, that looks great, nice and clean. Okay, I am not going to put this little guy down next. I want to wait until I have an Inchie to work with. So let's cut it first, and then we'll do that. So go ahead, go to your cutter, trim this to 3 by 4, and cut your Inchies out. And if you have any pull with any manufacturers, ask them to please make us an Inchie die cut to use so that we don't have to go use our cutter. You want a good strong cutter for this, a rotary cutter for sure. My pieces are all out and I sorted out my puzzle. And I wanted to recommend a way of doing this that I think will keep it easy, and that's to glue all these pieces down or adhere them, however you're going to do that. I like to use this kind of an adhesive. And then the top as well. So line these all up. A good thing to do is perhaps just move these around a little bit and just see how much space you're going to need between everything. Give yourself a really good idea. And then go across the top. Then when you do the next row, you've got this side to go by and that side to go by. That'll keep you all square. This is the one I ended up using in my card. I put this here. But you can see that Stampscapes has several different options. Let's just take a look. Maybe hikers going down the path, a horse. I like this one a lot too. I've used that quite a bit. And I've also used this one. So I'm sure there's other options too. So please take advantage of all the little stamps from Stampscapes that are perfect for sticking right here or right here. But I would wait until you actually have the Inchie. That way you can center it right in the middle of the inch. I want to finish off the inside of this card with what I would call a classic Inchie, because I think that's how it started. We just took, somebody invented this great idea where you took a square inch and you designed a whole little world on a little inch. And I am totally hooked on Inchies, and I love making cards with Inchies. I have no idea why. As if cards weren't small enough. We're going to make really tiny pieces of artwork now, but it's amazing how much stuff you can get on there. So here is my Inchie ready to go. If you have an inch square punch, perfect. Cut out your white, cut out your chipboard, and glue them together with a glue stick. And then I would use a smaller stamp of grass. There's even smaller ones from Stampscapes, and just catch the edge of your Inchie with this. Let's do that. I stamped my grass. Again, I'm just going to let it dry just for a second. And go ahead and put some blue sky onto this. And then take my walkers, do a little test stamping there. And this is really easy because there's nowhere to go. You just line these two things up and press it in. Okay, and then what I did is I cut a nice mat for my Inchie. This is a little bigger than an inch. It's 1 1/8 square, and that's going to go here. I have some meadow green here. I'm going to carefully add it to the bottom of this tiny little Inchie. That's all we need. He's so cute. Take off my double stick tape and put it on the inside of my card to finish it off perfectly. And then whatever sentiment you have, you can add. Really easy to do. So this video was a lot shorter than my previous videos, so there's my New Year's resolution. Let's make shorter videos. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you try it, especially those of you who have these wonderful Stampscapes collections and you just need a new idea to try a different way of using them. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.